Hey, what's up, YouTube? So today I'm going to be analyzing the upcoming or possible upcoming fight with Canelo and Charlo. I was initially very excited, but mostly because I've really never researched Jermall Charlo that much, and I haven't really paid attention to. I saw his Lubin fight, but aside from that, I never really paid attention. And mainly, I think I just saw two of his recent fights, which was Derenvianchenko, and then I watched the full fight of Korobov, some of Derenvianchenko, and I'll be watching some more fights just to get a feel for him. But one of the things I noticed was he's a huge. A lot of people in the middleweight division are pretty tall, man. Like 5'11". They got him listed 5'11", 6 feet. You got Demetrius Andrade at 6'1". Man, dude. Junior middleweight is right. Well, man, like between junior middleweight, and super middleweight, I think these guys are way too tall, man. I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I mean, Canelo's. You got to give Canelo credit. He's fighting giants, dude. Because if you look at junior middleweight, you got people that are way too tall there, crazy tall, and they're sticking around there, and man, it's really like Demetrius Andrade, right? Demetrius Andrade's at 160. He should be at 168, man. Really, dude? He hasn't even fought Caleb freaking Plant, for God's sakes. He does not deserve to fight Canelo. To be honest, and Charlo's huge, man. The guy's stocky. He's built from freaking head to toe, man. And when he was fighting Derenvianchenko, it was like, dude, man. It reminds me of when Manny Pacquiao was fighting these beasts, because they got him listed at 5'11", but I think he's a good 6 foot tall. So Derenvianchenko is like 5'7". Man, that guy doesn't even. It looks like they weren't. I don't think they are in the same weight class. Derenvianchenko was fighting someone. He was fighting a super middleweight, for sure, no doubt about it. Jermall Charlo is not a middleweight. He's a super middleweight, at least, and even then, he's not spectacular. He's not a spectacular fighter. One thing I also noticed is it's broadcasted by he's a PBC fighter, and everything's going to be PBC, of course. They kept reminding you at the beginning of the fight it was going. I'm sorry. This is the Korobov fight. The Korobov fight. At the beginning, all I kept hearing was everyone. They're preconditioning you. Oh man, he's not doing really good right now, but man, he's gonna get right back on it. He's gonna start doing really good, right? And then he's looking for confirmation with his who's that British heavyweight? I forget his name right now, but they kept, and he was not being biased, but everyone else in the broadcasting was super biased. They would not acknowledge Korobov's landing shots. You'd hear a quiet session. He's making some connects, and I'm like, hey, what's up? They're not saying anything. Charlo hits someone. Oh man, that's what I'm talking about, man. Yes, man, he's got to use that more, man. And the whole fight was all about Jermall Charlo on with either he should get back, what should he do to get back on the cards, that he's losing. It's like, but it makes sense. It's the PBC broadcasters, and it's a very highly biased commentator group. At one point, one of the broadcasters said, he says, I got Charlo winning. What about you? He goes, yeah, I got him winning as well. He goes, yeah, that's what I want. So preconditioning the whole time, ridiculous. I really don't want to support this guy. Nothing against him, but man, that fight was. If you watch that fight, they bought the fight. The PBC bought the fight. They no doubt about it. No doubt about it, guys. Don't waste your time. I mean, you can watch it, but I'm telling you right now. I mean, the first half of the fight, Korobov, right? How much he won by? He was the most active fighter from 1 to 6, 1 to 7. They're still saying, okay, he's going to start. He's catching momentum now. So 6 to 12, if you split it and you give 3 rounds to each person, Korobov still wins. Even if you give even if you do a 4 to 2 split, if the second round of the fight, there's no way that what's his name, he would have to win every single. He would have to Charlo would have to win every single round. At the 6th round, that means he loses. That means it's a tie, and he didn't win every single round. He won the last one for sure. So it's like probably like the first half of the fight was 1 to 6, all Korobov, and the second half of the fight was 4 rounds to 2, and let's say we give 4 to Charlo, but Korobov still wins, in my opinion. If you wanted to call the scoring that way. And again, I noticed that Jermall Charlo was definitely the bigger guy. He looked heavier set. He was just bolder. In the screen, you can just see that he's more filled in as a body. There's a mass there. There's a bigger mass, so it doesn't look like a same weight class fighter fighting the same weight class. It doesn't look like a middleweight fighting a middleweight. It actually looked like a middleweight or junior weight in Korobov. Fighting. Korobov could have been a middleweight fighting a super middleweight. And that's what I'm saying, guys. Charlo must be rehydrating like crazy, because he always looked like he has an edge. He's the bigger guy. Does he have stamina? He has stamina, but they weren't mentioning how much he was missing. I mean, he was swinging at the air. He looked very discoordinated, and the broadcasters did an amazing job of spinning it and kind of neutralizing that what we were watching, and talking about how he should recover, or but man, hey, I see him just turning it on, because Charlo's just an amazing closer, and he just catches him, man. He's just gonna turn it on in the next seconds. Don't worry about it. I know this guy's that type of energy at the beginning of the fight, and the second Charlo would land anything on Korobov, it's like, oh, it's amazing. And it's like they're preconditioning you for the decision, and it's a PBC fight, and it really sucked, man. What else? I stated that they wouldn't acknowledge Korobov's lands at all. There was a definite concern from the broadcasting crew throughout the fight. They knew he was down. I made some notes here. It was obvious that the bias from the commentating crew was completely obvious. And then at the end of the fight, they said the one judge scored it 119 for Charlo to 108 for Korobov, which is 100% retarded. And this is why boxing sucks, guys. This is why boxing sucks. 2 judges scored it 116-112. That's what that's why the name of my show is Love Hate Sports, man. I love it, but this and I'm gonna tell you why this shit happens. He's fighting Canelo next. You think he would be fighting Canelo next if he lost to Korobov? Who's the bigger name, Korobov or Charlo? Charlo is, because they're marketing him. There's a lot of money marketing him, and he's just he struggled. And Korobov is a slick guy. He was dodging. He didn't finish the fight all like messed up. He got dazed a little bit, but I think that also has to do with the size, man. Charlo's way bigger than him. So they're giving him an edge, and then when he does fight a guy that's 6 foot tall, he's a slim and slender. A lot. You can tell that they're a lot more delicate. They're not a threat. Let's put it that way, right? They're not a threat to him. I saw some African American Hispanic. I forget his last name. Very slim. He didn't look like a threat, and then Charlo ended up knocking him out with a body shot to the stomach. But moving on from there, I just saw a video where Showbiz did an analysis, and Derenvianchenko, which is I think I put him in at 5'7" versus 6 feet or 5'11", whatever Charlo is. They got him listed at like both. Yeah, they got listed at both, but that's a huge height disadvantage, and like I said, 2 different weight classes, and the guy struggled. And it looked like Charlo won. I'm not gonna say that I thought Derenvianchenko won, but I can say he trailed him the whole damn fight, and he's fighting a guy that's almost goddamn 5 inches shorter than him. Dude, you're 5 inches he's 5 inches shorter than you, and he's in a different weight class, and you can't knock him out. And Derenvianchenko, he can land, but he wasn't landing like completely flush. And he was and the thing is, he was landing, in some he was landing pretty damn flush, and Charlo was taking the shots. But what I'm trying to get at, guy, is as if he's struggling with these guys, Canelo's way slicker on defense, and he's way stronger. He's a lot stronger on offense. He's got a lot more strength. His defense and head movement. They kept saying that during versus the Derenvianchenko fight. What was it? The Derenvianchenko fight. They kept asking him to move to Derenvianchenko to move his head more, and they were saying that Canelo has that, which is true. So, I don't know, guys. After seeing that little, I think I was already sold when I watched Showbiz video on his analysis with the comparison between Derenvianchenko and just. I think what did it for me was just the pace. They were showing the pace compared to the pace that Charlo had with Derenvianchenko, which was tit for tat, like they were back at it, like back to back to back to back to back, and that's not the absolute meanest guy in the division. And Canelo's pace is Canelo's pace is gonna Canelo and this guy was getting hit. Canelo's gonna have a he controls the fight. He doesn't get hit. It almost made me initially, after seeing that stuff, it immediately made me uninterested in the fight, because don't get me wrong, guys, I'm interested in watching it, but I think I already know the outcome. And that's in the sense that he's not a challenge for Canelo. It's not going to be like a blowout, but it's not going to be a challenge for Canelo. And I just think that there's just levels to this, and I think Showbiz said on his show, he said that that Charlo hasn't done anything. He hasn't fought Triple G, he hasn't fought Demetrius Andrade, and because of that, they haven't learned, and they haven't really gone up another level. And I think it's true, because you see Charlo on both of those fights. He was both fighters. Korobov beat him, and Derenvianchenko trailed him right behind him the whole time. So I'm pretty sure they actually know they'll lose to Canelo. It's a money grab. That's all it is. I'm not saying that Charlo doesn't believe he's going to beat Canelo. I'm sure he believes that he can beat him, but his trainers and staff know that, hey, we're going to take this loss and we're going to get the money, because it's here. The opportunity's here. The fight's here. Let's take it. Let's do it. And everybody keeps saying, this is how you know that. This is how you know when people can't acknowledge that Canelo, are unable to acknowledge that Canelo's better, or can't come up with the proof and the documentation to back up why Charlo is better than Canelo. They say, they come up with they say, well, Charlo always fights to the level of his competition. That's it? That's all you have to say? That's pretty sad, man. When you can't physically say it's gonna be his jab, it's gonna be his pace, it's gonna be his body shots, any of that stuff. You're gonna say, well, he fights to the level. He's just gonna move it up a level. I'm sorry, guys, but that's like that's kind of like a red flag, and for me, it's like, all right, I've heard enough to know that, when professionals point out something, they kind of they justify something, and it hasn't even been justified. And the more that I'm looking at, just the pace alone, he's a very pace fighter in Charlo, and I think his pace is way too slow, and he looks a little stiff, and his training staff is always asking more of him. They're always asking him. It's like he still doesn't know. I mean, he's a good fighter, but I guess what's the best way to describe this? I guess the level of competition that he's fighting is always slightly. They're at his level or right below his level. What does that tell you? He's a hype job. But you know what? He is a hype job. And you know what? He should be knocking the hell out of all of these guys. If Korobov, he's a smaller guy. I don't know what the hell. They got him listed at 5'11", and then one place I saw Charlo at 5'11" and Korobov at 5'11", and then they're at the same weight. They're not the same weight. They're not the same weight. I guarantee you that. I don't know where the hell they're getting that crap from, but they're not the same weight, and I don't think they're the same height. Definitely not the same weight. Charlo's huge. So if, put it this way, if Korobov walked in there with Charlo's body, Korobov wins. If Derenvianchenko walked in there and fought Charlo with Charlo's body, height, and weight, he wins. That's it. So what does that tell you? that tells you Charlo's fighting with an advantage, a weight advantage, height advantage, and weight advantage, and he's perfectly and he's fighting at the middleweight at 160. Along with Gennady Golovkin's also staying there, and he hasn't fought Gennady Golovkin. He hasn't fought Demetrius Andrade. He's just waiting for Canelo. They're both waiting for Canelo, and it's a little saddening because they're just not and Derenvianchenko's like at what he's in the he's ranked on Ring Magazine at number 8, and where's Korobov on here? Munguia's at number 4. See, they're not gonna fight. Golovkin's not fighting Munguia. Munguia's pretty solid. I still think Munguia is huge. I don't remember how tall he is, but he's freaking tall. Charlo is not gonna be fighting Munguia. Eubanks. Who the hell does Eubanks fight? I don't think Eubanks fights anyone. That's interesting. I really want to know where Korobov ranks and why he's not on here, because he's a pretty solid ass fighter. And they're just hype jobs, man. Gennady hasn't fought anyone anymore. At 160, who is Korobov at 160 or what the hell? Lemieux is up there. Who is it? Benavidez number 1. They got Canelo at champ at 168. You got Plant. You got Saunders is hurt. Lemieux. Shit, man. Canelo's already taken all the top guys out. That's super interesting. That's crazy because Canelo's campaigning at 168 and he's going to be fighting a 168 pounder. Freaking Charlo's a natural 168 pounder. And dude, there's no freaking way that Charlo isn't fighting on fight night at 168 pounds on or when he's rehydrated. There's no freaking way. Guy's freaking huge. But that's freaking sad that he's rehydrating to like probably 168. Canelo's probably what is he, like 5'7", fighting a 6. That's a 5-inch difference. He's probably the same height as Derenvianchenko, so another 5-inch difference. Charlo's going to be able to hydrate to a higher weight than Canelo because of his height, and so that's not a big enough advantage to freaking win with your fighters, what the hell is? I think he should. But anyways, I still have Canelo winning. But it just is a little annoying at how much advantage he has, and all of these huge ass guys like bigger frame guys like Gennady, Charlo, Demetrius, and I'm categorizing these guys in height. And Munguia aren't fighting each other. I'm sure Munguia wants, because he's younger, he wants to get up in the ranks. I'm sure he wants to fight all of these guys, but all of these other guys, they don't want to fight each other. And it all has to do with the Floyd zero loss record. That's what ruined boxing. That's why boxing sucks. Gennady Golovkin is the only one that has a loss, which I don't really think it's a loss. Well, he won the first one, and he lost the second one, not in a bad way. It's just, I don't even think those losses by decision some should count. They should be freaking they should make them that's the corruption in boxing, because they wanna give the win to Canelo, because I think it should be a draw, a lot of these things, but they don't want to make them a draw. It's like that freaking fight right here with Korobov. That's a clear corruption there, and But yeah, that's where I wanted to leave it. I think Canelo's gonna outclass him. I think it's gonna be pretty easy. And I initially thought this was going to be a huge challenge for Canelo, and after reviewing some of the tapes, I don't feel the same way anymore. I don't feel that Charlo moves enough. Actually, I think in my past videos, if you look at them, I think Terrence Crawford goes up in weight and he can beat. He's 5'7" like Derenvianchenko, and he's a switch hitter. He's left. I think, who is it? Korobov. Korobov's left-handed. He did exceptionally well. Yeah, I think and if Terrence Crawford doesn't move up in weight, I know he's trying to be undisputed at welterweight as well as junior, because he's already undisputed at junior welterweight. But they're gonna block his ass. He's an idiot. They're gonna block his ass. They're not gonna. The PBC isn't gonna allow him to get that. They're not just gonna say, "Oh yeah, he's capable of it," but they're not. They're gonna block him. He's gonna be blackballed. He's not gonna get that opportunity. Can he? If he did, would it be amazing? It would, because Manny doesn't have that, and neither does Floyd. So it's a huge deal. But he won't. He has to go to junior middleweight and steal the show, and make people want to watch him, because no one cares about him. So that's it for this one, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Also, please subscribe and like my video. That helps out a lot. Just started my this channel, so I don't have a lot of subscribers. So always helps. Thank you, guys. Bye.